So, you've decided to do Vienna in a weekend. 2 days, one city, and a suitcase full of ambition. Ambitious, maybe a little delusional, but here we are. You're staring at a map that looks more like a puzzle than a plan, wondering how you'll fit it all in. You arrive Friday, checklist in hand, convinced 48 hours is plenty to absorb centuries of art, history, and imperial grandeur. The city's stories stretch back to the Romans, but you're ready to take them on, one site at a time. Vienna took the Habsburgs hundreds of years to build, but you're determined to conquer it by Sunday brunch. You'll squeeze in palaces, gardens, and grand boulevards before your return flight. The mission: see everything, not just the big stuff, everything. Schönbrunn Palace, check. St. Stephen's Cathedral, obviously. You're not missing a single highlight, no matter how long the line. The Belvedere, Nashmarkt, Spanish Riding School, all on the list. You'll even try to squeeze in a quick glance at Klimt's The Kiss before lunch. You're not just a tourist, you're a cultural commando on a high-stakes operation. Every step is a mission, every photo a trophy. The goal: return home with enough photos and stories to convince everyone you've become an honorary Austrian. Your social feed will be a highlight reel of Viennese adventures. You'll talk about the architecture and history, but maybe skip the part where you almost got run over by a tram taking a selfie. Some stories are best left untold. We land in Europe with color-coded spreadsheets and dreams of living like locals. Our plans are as detailed as a Habsburg family tree. The only problem? Locals have their whole lives for this. You have a weekend, they stroll, you sprint. They're just trying to get to work without spilling their coffee. You're trying to cram the Holy Roman Empire into Saturday afternoon, fueled by espresso and adrenaline. So, let's begin this ambitious journey. Lace up your shoes, charge your camera, and prepare for a whirlwind. We'll walk until our feet are just memories. Every cobblestone will have a story, every bench a moment of rest. We'll navigate a public transport system that's both efficient and baffling. The U-Bahn will be your best friend and your greatest puzzle. By the end, we'll either be enlightened connoisseurs or just very tired people with a faint memory of a big cathedral and a lot of cake. But we'll have earned every bite of Sachertorte. Vienna, you've been warned. The weekend warriors have arrived, and we're ready to make every second count. First stop, Schönbrunn Palace, the former summer residence of the Habsburg emperors, and a place that makes even the most extravagant mansions look modest. This place doesn't just redefine summer home, it obliterates the concept entirely. Imagine calling this your vacation cottage. You think your balcony is nice? Try looking out over a garden that stretches for acres, with a palace as your backdrop. The Habsburgs had 1,441 rooms, a backyard with its own zoo, and enough windows to lose count before breakfast. Walking through the gates, you feel like an extra in a period drama, swept along by crowds, dwarfed by the sheer scale. You shuffle through endless rooms of gold trim, crystal chandeliers, and portraits of people with the most serious wigs you've ever seen. Each room is more opulent than the last, a masterclass in making visitors feel both amazed and hilariously inadequate. After the palace, you're released into gardens that are basically a national park, complete with perfectly trimmed hedges and hidden statues. There are fountains, fake Roman ruins, and a giant hill topped by the Gloriette, a monument to imperial leisure. The map calls it a leisurely stroll. In reality, it's a full-on hike that will test your vacation fitness. You reach the top, gasping for air, as Austrian seniors breeze past you with a friendly nod, barely breaking a sweat. By the time you're done, you've walked 5 miles without ever leaving the property. Your step counter will thank you. You leave feeling awe at the scale, a little envy, and a lot of relief that you don't have to pay the heating bill for all those rooms. One palace down, a dozen more sites to go. Vienna is just getting started, and so are you. The weekend is just getting started, and the city's grandeur is only beginning to unfold. Next up, St. Stephen's Cathedral, the Gothic giant looming over Vienna's center. Its roof is a mosaic masterpiece, and inside you're plunged into candlelight and centuries of history. You wander, craning your neck at the vaulted ceilings, trying not to trip over tourists or interrupt someone's prayer. But for the true weekend warrior, just seeing the inside isn't enough, you have to climb it. 2 towers. North has an elevator, tempting. South has 343 steps. Of course you pick this. The climb is a dizzying, claustrophobic spiral, a medieval stairmaster. At the top, you're rewarded with a panoramic view of Vienna. Red rooftops, grand boulevards, the Danube shimmering in the distance. You spend 3 minutes enjoying it before realizing you have to go back down. The descent is a wobbly, knee-jarring journey. You stumble out, legs shaking but triumphant. You've earned your view and your next pastry. Onward. Vienna isn't going to conquer itself. Every European vacation starts with the fantasy of walking everywhere, baguette under arm, looking effortlessly chic. Vienna looks compact on the map, but the Imperial scale is deceiving. That short walk to Schönbrunn is a multi-hour commitment. You start the day striding along the Ringstrasse, feeling sophisticated. By lunchtime your feet are protesting and the cobblestones feel like a personal attack. Locals glide by on bikes or trams, not participating in your self-inflicted walkathon. You debate walk for authenticity or ride for sanity. Eventually practicality wins. You stare at the ticket machine, baffled by zones and fares. You finally board a tram, feeling a wave of relief. You've given up on being a real European, and it feels fantastic. Sometimes the best way to see Vienna is from a moving seat. Your feet thank you. The city rolls by and you're still part of it. On to the next adventure. After all that walking, you've earned a break at the Naschmarkt, a mile-long corridor of temptation. The air is thick with spices, grilling sausages, and fresh olives. You start with good intentions. Just look, maybe buy some cheese. But the vendors are masters, offering samples of prosciutto, baklava, falafel. Your plan dissolves into a full-blown, multi-course meal eaten on your feet. The Naschmarkt is a global journey in a few city blocks. Olives from Greece, dates from Iran, spices from India. You leave with 3 cheeses, dried mangoes, pumpkin seed oil, and a stomach full of falafel. Your wallet is lighter, your diet a distant memory, but you don't care. The Naschmarkt is an experience, a joyful, delicious chaos. Sometimes the best travel plans are the ones you abandon for food. Another item checked off the list, and this one was worth every calorie. Onward, fueled by snacks. Culturally nourished, it's time for the Belvedere Palace, actually 2 palaces separated by another stunning garden. The Upper Belvedere houses Austria's greatest art, from medieval icons to modern masterpieces. You wander through galleries, nodding thoughtfully, but let's be honest, you're here for one thing. You turn a corner and there it is, Klimt's the Kiss, golden and dazzling, surrounded by a sea of selfie sticks. You try to have a pure moment, but it's hard with 500 camera-wielding friends. After paying respects to Klimt, you breeze through Sheila and Kokoschka. Raw, angsty, and a reminder Vienna wasn't all waltzes and pastries. You leave feeling like you've had a crash course in Austrian modernism. The checklist is getting shorter, you're becoming a cultural expert, one famous painting at a time. Next stop, more art, more history. The Museum's Quartier is Vienna's arts and culture playground, a massive courtyard surrounded by Baroque stables and modern museums. The vibe is young, cool, and laid back, with students and artists lounging on funky benches. The problem here is choice. Leopold Museum Mumak design shops performance spaces. Travel FOMO kicks in. What if you pick the wrong museum? You choose the Leopold for Sheila's brilliant, unsettling portraits. It's powerful, but your brain is starting to blur from art overload. You emerge, culturally saturated, blinking in the sunlight. You've done your duty, you've seen the art, you've contemplated the human condition. Now you desperately need to sit and not think for an hour. You find a bench, watch the world go by, and realize this is also the Viennese experience. Sometimes it's about soaking in the atmosphere, not just checking boxes. You rest your feet, recharge, and prepare for the next round. Vienna is a marathon, not a sprint. All weekend, the Viennese coffee house has been calling your name, its promise of comfort and tradition echoing in your mind. These aren't just cafes, they're institutions, elegant sanctuaries where time slows down and the world outside seems to pause. You've tried to resist, convincing yourself you'll just walk by, but by Sunday afternoon, you surrender to the inevitable. You walk into Café Central or Café Sacher, and instantly, you're transported to another era. One of poets, artists, and whispered conversations. The air smells of coffee, sugar, and old-world elegance mingling with the soft clink of porcelain cups. A waiter, dressed impeccably, hands you a menu that reads like a love letter to dessert and tradition. You order the Sachertorte, Vienna's legendary chocolate cake, and a Wiener Melange, the city's signature coffee. The cake arrives, glossy and perfect, with a cloud of whipped cream, looking almost too beautiful to eat. One bite and you understand this isn't just dessert, it's a cultural experience, a taste of Vienna's soul. As you savor your cake and coffee, you realize Vienna isn't just about seeing things, it's about sitting in them, letting the city's rhythms seep in, the art of the pause, watching people, soaking in the moment, not rushing but simply existing in the present. For a few glorious, sugar-fueled moments, you're not a tourist, you're simply being part of the city's living history. This is the part of Vienna the checklists leave out. You finally get it. The magic is in the lingering. And as you linger, you realize you never want to leave this moment behind. The weekend is over. At the airport you scroll through hundreds of photos. Palaces, cathedrals, Klimt, pastries, you did it. You completed the Vienna Weekend Challenge. But what do you actually remember? The details are fuzzy. Habsburg emperors blur together, architectural styles blend. What's crystal clear is the food, the apple strudel, the Sachertorte, the falafel, the coffee. Your most vivid memories aren't of palaces, but of pastries. You came for the history, but you stayed for the cake. Maybe the real victory isn't conquering a checklist, but surrendering to the moment. It's that perfect bite of cake in a historic coffee house, or a quiet moment on a park bench. You may not remember which prince lived where, but you'll remember how it felt to be there. Did you conquer Vienna? Not even close. But you had a fantastic time trying, and you have the sugar coma to prove it. That, in the end, is a trip well spent. Until next time, Vienna.